Hello everyone, Team709 here on the No Limit YouTube channel page for this week's Deck Doctor segment. This week we will be covering Mathew Harley's Bujin deck. Bujins, for anyone who pays a lot of attention to decks that are doing well at nationals and other regions other than our own, which by our own I mean the United States because that's where I'm located, as well as No Limit. But if you pay much attention to other regions and their nationals and what decks do well, Bujins, as far as I can tell, have been seeing a lot of play. I'm not sure exactly how many people in the TCG are playing Bujins. I see usually still mostly dragons. I mean, Lightsworn dragons are kind of hyped on Dueling Network right now, and with the Lightsworn structure deck and all that other happy crap coming out literally in like 2 weeks or whatever, so like a week or two, they're kind of just being really played heavily right now. And I think that a few big name players have also been playing it as well. So, I mean, like, I'm not entirely sure how much of a showing Bujins actually have at the moment, but I know that they are definitely a very good deck, and I figured it would be something that we definitely need to cover because, nationals and then worlds, Bujins are still going to be a very strong competitor, at least in my opinion, as well as I'm sure a lot of other people. Anyways, without further just rambling on, let's just go over his build, and we'll go over the fixed build and then the changes, and then we'll call it a day. So why not? Starting off with monsters, we have 2 Harume, 2 Mikazuchi, 3 Yamato, 2 Turtles, 2 Hares, 2 Arasudas, 1 Quillen, 3 Crane, 3 Sinyo, and 1 Honest. Spells, we have 2 Iris Rock Sunrise, for anyone who does not know what this card does, for, the fact that I'm sure that some people just have never heard it for whatever reason. It's a normal spell that targets 1 beast monster in your graveyard. You special summon it, and if you do, all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls lose 200 attack for each beast, plant, or winged beast type monster in your graveyard until the end of the turn. You can only use 1 per turn, of course, because otherwise I guess it would be kind of broken, whatever. Continuing on with the spells, we have 2 Soul Charge, 2 Bujin Incarnation, 3 Mystical Space Typhoon, 2 Kaiser Colosseum, and 3 Tenki. Traps, we have 1 Bottomless, 1 Compulse, 2 Royal Decrees, and 1 Solemn Warning. Extra deck, we happen to have 1 Amaterasu, we have 1 Kagutsuchi, 3 Susanoo, 1 Ragna Zero, 1 Black Ship of Corn, 1 Silent Honor Arc, 1 Heartland Draco, 1 Diamond Direwolf, 1 Paladin Ammo, 1 Excite Knight, 1 Tsukiyomi, 1 Abyss Dweller, and 1 Gagaga Cowboy. So that's his build. Let's just get into the fixed build, shall we? Hopefully this time I won't touch the scrolly wheelie thingy on my mouse, because that's kind of what screwed up my recording last time. Because, everyone wants to see a random deck that I just happen to have on my, Dev Pro. Anyways, starting off with the monsters in the fixed build, we have 2 Harume, 2 Mikazuchi, 3 Yamato, 2 Turtle, 2 Hare, 2 Arasuda, 1 Quillen, 3 Crane, 1 Honest, and 2 Maxis. That was a very different monster lineup, right? Spells, we have 1 Soul Charge, 2 Bujin Incarnation, 2 Pot of Duality, 3 Mystical Space Typhoon, 2 Forbidden Lance, and 3 Fire Formation Tenki. There was a couple new cards in there, wasn't there? Traps, we have 1 Bottomless, 1 Compulsory, 2 Vanities, 2 Fiendish Chains, and 1 Solemn Warning. New cards in this build in the traps for this too, so it's great. Extra deck, we have 1 Amaterasu, 1 Kagutsuchi, 2 Susanoo, 1 Ragna Zero, 1 Tiger King, 1 Black Ship of Corn, 1 Silent Honor Arc, 1 Heartland Draco, 1 Diamond Direwolf, 1 Paladin Ammo, 1 Excite Knight, 1 Tsukiyomi, 1 Abyss Dweller, and 1 Gagaga Cowboy. Well, okay, we'll just go in reverse order here, I guess, or just start with the easiest one. Extra deck, we only dropped 1 Susanoo for a Tiger King. Tiger King's kind of just that card that you can use to make a bigger play. It's something that you can make off of this, of course. You can just use it to get a Tenki if you haven't been able to get into it. You can, just like, oh, okay, I get this, and I can just, get my Yamato. Or if you already used up a Tenki or something that you had before, and now you find yourself needing one of your other Bujins, you can use it to get the Bujin that you need specifically. Starting to lose my voice because, hot weather. It's absolutely freaking amazing. Anyways, Tiger King's kind of a very minor change to the extra deck. If you find yourself not enjoying Tiger King so much, you can go back to the other Susanoo, of course. I probably shouldn't have to explain this. I do test every time I do these fixed builds. This one I've actually tested against Shadows. It's actually played pretty well for me. I can't really say if it'll do well for everyone in the Shadow matchup, of course, but the deck itself has done well against Shadows for me, and I've actually made Tiger King quite a few times in some of the games that I've tested this deck with, and it's helped me either win the game or help me get cards that I really needed. So it's just been proven to do pretty well for me specifically. I don't, again, it may be different for you, but you know. So I guess we'll just start with the monsters and what we dropped. I guess we can just go over what we dropped and then what we added, and then we can start explaining things or whatever. We'll just do it like that. Things we dropped the 3 Sinyo, the 2 Sunrise, the 2 Kaiser Coliseum, which I already recommended that they should be put in the side deck. 1 Soul Charge, 2 Royal Decrees, and we already kind of explained the Susanoo, so we really don't need to go into that. Things we added 2 Maxis, 2 Pot of Dualities, 2 Forbidden Lance, 2 Phoenix Chains, 2 Vanities, and the Tiger King, which again we've already explained the extra deck changes. So monsters, the Sinyo, I'm kind of tying this in with Sunrise. Sunrise requires beast monsters to kind of work, obviously, and you've dropped your beast count by 3. Sinyo is kind of like a worse version of Honest. It's only for the battle that you use it. The damage your opponent takes is halved, which kind of makes it kind of lame in comparison to Crane, of course, because Crane's just like, oh, I'll just double the original attack of my monster. Yay! You know, why not? So I mean, that's kind of a thing, but like, it just doesn't seem worth it when you can use the room for other cards. I mean, do you really need 7 Honest in your deck? Removing the 3 Sinyo allows you to play other cards that can otherwise help you achieve victory faster, I guess is a good way to put it. Examples would be Maxi if you find yourself, like if your opponent's going first, like turn 1 and all that other crap, and they're just deciding to do like, oh, I'm going to play a whole bunch of cards. Maxi's just a good card to have. You can probably just think off the top of your head several decks that Maxi's obviously really good against right now, or just useful to have against. So I mean, like there's Infernities, there's Madolches, there's Dragon shit, there's Hat Tricks that basically ties in just Trap Trick hands and the Artifact variant as well. There's, I don't know, let's say that there's pure artifacts out there somewhere and they're doing something and you just happen to play against them. Well, okay, Maxi will draw some cards, yay. I mean, like you can think of several different decks that Maxi's good against and they're probably seeing play right now. As well as I'm sure you can probably think of some that aren't seeing play, just to kind of disprove my point, I suppose. But I mean, you can definitely think of like a lot of decks that you're definitely going to be playing against or going to run into that Maxi can definitely be helpful against. And not to mention it helps you draw into potential Beast Warriors and, you know, Honest, because, you know, Honest is a thing. And, you know, so... But Maxi's the only thing that we added monster-wise, which left room for other cards, of course, considering we removed 3 and added 2. So, things that we did for spells that we added in, we added 2 dualities, the 2 lances. So, we dropped the Ayers Rocks, the Kaisers, and the Soul Charge. Again, Kaisers to the side deck, basically, or at least I'm recommending it. It's not something that I really enjoy having game 1 per se. It's great if you open it, like if you're playing it in main deck and you have it like turn 1 or turn like 2 or so in the main deck, it's great, I guess, because I mean you could just, you know, set up your motto, get Crane and all that other happy crap. But I mean, if you happen to draw it like mid-late or late game and your opponent's already got like a board or something, it's kind of not something you really want to be drawing into, which is why most people usually only play 2 copies of it in the first place. But at the same time, there are just better cards in my opinion to be playing right now, which we'll get to momentarily, because the other card that we happen to think is, you know, good in place of it is also a continuous card, so we'll just do that when we get around to it. Soul Charge, you're already playing basically 3 ways of, you know, moving monsters from your graveyard, the Incarnations and your 1 remaining copy of Soul Charge. I don't think you really need more than that, of course. I mean, the way it's been testing, Soul Charge has been kind of good to just bring back the Beast Warrior stuff from my graveyard, or bring back a Beast Warrior that I had as a material or something that I can use. Usually Yamato, of course, but like it's just usually good for something like that. And Incarnation is obviously just good for making those instant exceed plays, of course. So I mean, I just felt like having 2 Soul Charge was a bit, it wasn't really necessary, and the 1 Soul Charge has been playing fine for me. If you feel like you actually do need the second one, you're free to find room for it, of course. Finding room for it in the fixed build is kind of hard though, because everything's kind of good. Like every card is good, and it's kind of hard to just be like, well, what do I want to take out now? I'm assuming the first thing that you might go to is the Maxis, because you didn't have them in your build to begin with, or at least the main deck. I don't think you provided a side deck, but I don't really work with people's side decks anyways. So I mean, you know, whatever. So things that we definitely added, we added dualities and lances. Lance is kind of good for making sure that, like, if you're trying to do something they can't fiendish or break through or whatever, and it allows you to preserve, like, your turtle or your hair, or, you know, things like that. It just kind of helps preserve them, and it basically takes away one. It's kind of like an MST. It's like, oh, okay, well, you're using this, well, I'm just going to play this, make my card unaffected by it, and you still have, like, Crane to double the original attack of your monster anyways. So, I mean, it kind of just ties in with that, and, you know, so I mean, it's kind of a thing. Duality is kind of good just because you don't really have to special summon with this deck. You can just summon, or you can activate this, get something off of it, play Yamato, set whatever the hell you want, and add whatever you want, and then discard whatever the hell you want. So I mean, like, it's just kind of good to have. I see a lot of people playing 3s, there's 2s, obviously I don't really see many 1s, of course, but I mean, Duality is just an overall really amazing card in my opinion. Like, whenever I play this deck, it just is good. So, traps, for what we added double Fiendish and double Vanities. Vanities is what I was talking about or referring to whenever it comes to Kaiser. I like this card a lot better than Kaiser because game 1 it can do a lot more. Sure, like there could be that moment where your opponent still already has more of a board and it's like, okay, whatever, but Vanities can also kind of prevent them from like doing any kind of derpy special summon plays because you can just Susanoo wipe their board out. I guess something similar applies to Kaiser, of course, but I mean, having the ability to shut down one of their cards that they're trying to activate, whether it be something like Soul Charge, or, you know, I'm sure you can think of other things like Call to Haunted or Sanctum, things like that. It kind of just helps shut those down, which is good. I mean, if they happen to have no monsters, you happen to have 1 and you have Kaiser and they just flip Sanctum. Oh, Moral Attack's on the board now, yay. Like, that's kind of annoying. I mean, yeah, you have things like the hair or whatever, but I mean, do you really enjoy being forced to play them to protect your one play that you're trying to do? I don't really like doing that. Being able to kind of take away from what your opponent's trying to do to force your stuff and make you have less to play with, it's kind of just something that has been proven to, like, do really well whenever I would test the deck. So Vanities has kind of helped further that. So I mean, I don't really know if I need to explain this card all that much. It's everyone knows this thing's really good. Fiendish, this is one of those 50-50 cards between itself and Breakthrough. Some people like to justify playing Fiendish Chain because of the hands, preventing them from being able to crash into your monster and get things off your board. So I mean, there's that. There's just aside from that, just kind of just the same basic fact that it can negate effects, kind of like Breakthrough. I guess it comes down to whether or not you want to be able to like negate an effect more than once, or if you want to be able to stop like the hands or something. I recommend testing back and forth between the two. So I mean, there's that. So yeah, I don't know if I really need to explain anything else. I believe I've already explained the Tiger King thing, and I think I've said that if it doesn't play well for you, then you're welcome to go back to the other Susanoo. But yeah. I don't think there's anything else I need to really cover. I do hope that the fixed build works for Mathew Harley. I hope that it works well for anyone that decides to play it. I'm kind of hoping to see Bujins actually do really well at our nationals, but I'm kind of fearing the fact that we might see a bunch of dragons and like Trap Tricks hands and all that other happy junk. There's probably going to be actually 1 or 2 Infernities as well. Kind of calling that now. But whatever, that's our game, I guess. So yeah, we're just gonna end it here. If you haven't already, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. And No Limit's also doing a tournament, I believe, this weekend. So if you guys are in the area, be sure to check that out. I believe it's something with a PS3 and a Blood Mephist, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember off the top of my head because heat's kind of getting to me, you know. Fucking summer. I kind of regret being born in this season, but whatever. So yeah, if you haven't already, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. Until next time, this is Team 709 signing out.